The Jewish experience is built upon foundations of diversity as old as the Jewish people, a reality that may be lost to many of us who tend to think of other Jews as being only like ourselves. In reality, we're an amalgam of many peoples, and our origins include a multitude of languages, nations, tribes, and skin colors. Throughout the centuries, the Israelites have had a long, deep connections with Mediterranean, European, and Asian and African cultures. Today, Israel is one of the most racially, ethnically, nationally diverse countries in the world, with immigrants from over 70 different countries. Our Torah is filled with interracial and intercultural mixing. After all, Israel's greatest prophet, Moshe, married Zipporah, an Ethiopian. Solomon and David each took wives from Africa. Joseph married an Egyptian. And while so much of contemporary Jewish consciousness comes from a lot of Eastern and Central Europe, we have really deep roots in Africa and eventually in the Iberian Peninsula. From our original homes in Asia and Africa, we spread across the globe. The World Jewish Congress Survey of the Jewish Diaspora indicated that by the mid-16th century, Jewish communities could be found in a huge variety of countries, such as Jamaica, Brazil, Yemen, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Uganda, India, and China, as well as in a variety of different countries throughout Europe. Even today, the World Jewish Congress identifies about 120 countries with a Jewish community, and that doesn't even include all that we really know about. Scholars have tended to study Jewish migration from Central Eastern Europe. We know a lot about kind of the Ashkenaz world, not as much about the Sephardic world. Migration through Africa are almost completely lost to history, and the movement of a lot of the conversos that came to the New World is usually lost in myth. Today, the Jews that live in other countries around the globe are as varied as the countries themselves. Some are immigrant communities that look different from the surrounding populations that they inhabit, as well as Jews who are at first glance hard to distinguish from the local population in which they live. From their earliest days, Jews around the world married local people, and as a result they came to resemble the people around them, but still retaining their Jewish identities, their religious observances. And they did so with a local accent, a little bit of a local flavor in their different dress, language, cultures, and especially in their food. As would be expected, the cultures of these diverse Jews reflect the regions in which they live, and we'll use food as an example because we're Jews and we like food. Starting off, Ethiopian Jews, like non-Jewish Ethiopians, eat their food with injera. I'm completely butchering the pronunciation of that. A flat spongy bread that's used to scoop up lentil puree, vegetables, other different kind of spicy stews. In the south of India, the Jews of Cochin make curries with chilies and coconut, ingredients not typically found in your stereotypical Ashkenazi kitchen. None of this should be a surprise, because Ashkenazi cooking reflects Eastern and Central European origins. The cooking and the food we eat all comes from the different backgrounds and histories where we come from. Similarities among these communities are as significant as the differences are. While Asian, African, and Latin American Jews are racially and ethnically different from European Jews, they wear kippot, talit tot, they read Hebrew, they chant Torah, they have Shabbat services, they have rabbis, they say the brachot over bread, they have Kiddush on Shabbat, they have synagogues, they have mikvot. Many of the Jews may look different from their fellow Jews of European origin, but they pray to the same God, and they consider themselves part of the same people. Jews are diverse, yet they're tied to each other historically and religiously. Even the great variety of European cultures from which most American Jews descended is understood only in a cursory way. Few realize how complex and how varied the communities were from place to place. The very distinctive nature of Hungarian Jews, Polish Jews, Greek Jews. Even less know about Mizrahi Jews, Jews of the Arab world, rich societies that once thrived in Yemen, Iran, or Iraq. Relatively few people know about ancient communities of the Jews in India, despite Jews having lived there for hundreds of years. Now, I hope I've provided you with a very extremely brief overview of the scope and of the variety of the diversity of Jews throughout the world. It's vital and it's important to recognize that although we tend to think of the Jewish community as a singular group among the many other communities in the world, that we're not simply as many as the stars in the sky, we're not simply counted like the sand in the sea, the sand on the beaches, and the sand on the earth, but we're as diverse as them also. with this Take 5, with the theme of the day, our goal is to make you think about really what Judaism is and what Judaism is in the world. Not just what your home community is like, not just what our community is like here, or even in Israel, but what it's like all over the world. So if you haven't, take a look at different diversity pieces of paper all throughout Pardes. Learn about the different denominational communities throughout the world. Look at this website, do some research, look at the different Jewish communities throughout the planet and where their cultures and customs come from. And finally, at lunchtime, we're going to have another more active activity that is going to include taking a look at your own personal beliefs. We're a varied crowd at Pardes. Some of us identify very strongly with denominations and some don't. And what we're going to do is, there's going to be a room set up, I believe we're putting it in room 2, where two things are going to happen. One, for points, as part of the week-long game, you can cross-link the Pardes Colors video, which highlights the diversity about Pardes, posted to Facebook, things like that. And more active, for more points, is we have a list of about 45 different belief statements. Not tied to denominations, just varied statements about Judaism, religion, and God. Morals, ethics, and what you're going to do is completely anonymous. You're just going to list. We're going to give you a form. You're going to circle about your top 5 belief statements that you truly strongly identify with. And after that, we're going to collect them, turn them into a graph, a chart, and we're going to put it up at Pardes so we can really see how diverse our community is. Not how many denominations are represented here, but how many different beliefs and ideas are represented here. So yeah, with that, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Diversity Day. אני קם בעברית בבוקר, ושותה בעברית קפה, משלם בעברית ביוקר על כל דבר שאני קונה.